Hey everybody, this is my alternate day fasting round 2 week 1 results video. And before I get into the results, I just kind of wanted to give you a little bit of backstory in case this is the first video that you're watching. I tried round 1 back in October of 2019, and that lasted about 4 weeks, a good 4 weeks. The weeks following that were shallow at best. And then I decided to just totally give it up. But I have those videos on my channel if you want to follow those. I did hit some bumps in the road in round 1, which I've learned from. And I also have some new information from week 1, round 2 that I'll share with you too. The one thing I want to say is that round 2, week 1 was extremely easy. And I think it's because I knew what to expect going into it, and I didn't set really any expectations. I knew that I was going to be, I knew what I was getting into basically. And obviously you want to keep the good things that worked and you want to get rid of the bad things that didn't work. And that's kind of what I did here. So let's get to what I did for round 2, week 1. I weighed in June 29th, 2020 at 225.4 pounds. Back in October, when I first weighed in, not that I'm making comparisons, but just for comparison's sake, I think I was at 219 in October of 2019. So I was a little bit over last time, but I stopped eating at 6:30 at night on Sunday night, which would have been the 28th. And I fasted Monday, the 29th. And that was a 37.5-hour fast. I would have to say that Monday, the first day, was the toughest, and it really wasn't that bad. I drank a lot of water, and I was working, so I mean I stayed busy. It was nice knowing that I would get up and not have to make any lunch or any breakfast. I can just get dressed and get going on with my day. Didn't really lose any energy. I did, however, have like a low-grade headache, which was common. You know, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say it was about a 2. Now, I do, from my previous videos, what I did last time was on my eat days, I ate whatever I wanted, and that included junk food, pop, Mountain Dew, Pepsi, snack cakes. Nothing was off limits. I pretty much ate whatever I wanted. And I still was able to lose on average about like 3 pounds a week. This time, nothing was off limits, but I was able to get off drinking pop before I actually started the fast. So this time on my eat days, I was mostly just drinking water, green tea. First time in a long time, I've actually started drinking the green tea. You know, there are some health benefits to it. You can find those videos on YouTube. I watched a few of them. But I just started drinking those for flavor. Lemon water with ice was another good one on my fast days. And on my fast days, I noticed that I really didn't lose any energy this time. And I remember in round 1, week 1, I was really tired like the first day or 2 or maybe 3 days. And I think a lot of that had to do with the caffeine, you know, the ups and downs of the caffeine, having caffeine one day and no caffeine the next. That's just my educated guess. But from there, what I did was, let me get back to this here. All right, so I weighed in Tuesday morning, the 30th, and I weighed in at 221.8 pounds, which was kind of odd because that's like 3.6 pounds, I think it is, so that's a lot. In round one, the issue that I had last time was things were going along great, and I was used to going to the bathroom every day, and all of a sudden that stopped. It started to be every 2 days, every 3 days, or whatever it was. So that kind of scared me a little bit. But I started to mark on the sheets every time I had gone to the bathroom, just so I personally can keep track of it, of how much I was going and how long it's been since I started to go, or how long it's been since I've gone last. But anyway, no real issues other than that low-grade headache. I still had really good energy. My eat day on Tuesday, I still had a little bit of a low-grade headache, and I really didn't feel like junk food. I mean, I usually have like the cupcakes from Aldi's or the cinnamon little cakes from Aldi's. I usually snack on those, but I remember on Tuesday on my eat day, I remember packing my lunchbox with a cupcake and a cinnamon cake. And before I left for work, I replaced it with an apple and a banana. And I took that to work with me. So it was like as if my body was trying to gravitate me toward eating real food for the nutrients that it needed. So again, no real loss in my mind for not having that junk food. So you have to understand that my diet was, I probably had pop every day, at least a bottle of it, at least for, I'd say 5 months. And I still like it. I'm pretty sure that when I try it again, that it's going to taste totally different than it did before. And here's why I think that. I've noticed that on my eat days, a lot of the foods, the flavors are tasting different than they did when I was eating every day. And I don't know what it is. It's almost as if the flavor pops, and it's like 10 times more intense in the flavors. That's one of the side effects, I guess, that I noticed. Well, I noticed that I was eating a handful of almonds one day, and just the flavor of the almonds just seemed to be like 10 times greater than they had, just the week before. But on Wednesday, I had a 36-hour fast. I think I stopped eating at 8 p.m. at night. And then I fasted the next day, and then I woke up and I ate at 8 a.m. And again, I had no pop during that eat day. And I weighed in at 220.4 pounds. So I dropped down even more, like over a pound. On Monday, I'll tell you what happened to me there. I went all day, felt great. And I stopped eating at 6:30 at night, the day before. And I got out of work right around 6 o'clock. Well, I drank a bunch of water. I was getting ready to clock out, and I still had 2 cups of water at my desk. I didn't want to have to walk back to the bathroom to dump them, so I went and chugged the water. And I went to Aldi after work. And as soon as I got to Aldi, it's like I had to go to the bathroom. So I go into the bathroom, and I was literally in the bathroom for 15 minutes just going to the bathroom. I just couldn't stop. But I guess it was good, my body's cleaning itself out. I've heard it like this. If you have a house and you have the garbage bag and you set the garbage bag in the living room and you never take it out, pretty soon, that's going to accumulate. And so I liken my body going to the bathroom a lot as my body just cleaning house, getting rid of the junk. And so that's kind of what happened there. And things only got better through the week. I was able, on my eat day and my fast day, I was able to go outside and work for about 3 hours, full of energy. And you have to understand it's in the mid to low 90s right now outside, so it's very, very hot. So to work outside in that heat, of course, I just make sure I have enough fluids. And on my feast day, when I worked outside, what I did was, not only did I have a little bit of lemon water, but when I would take a drink of water, get a glass of water, I have some potassium chloride that I would actually sprinkle a little bit of potassium chloride in the water. just to make sure that I wasn't losing my electrolytes. And on Friday, I had a 34-hour fast. I think I stopped eating at 9 p.m. that night. And then I started eating, I think maybe at 7 the next morning. And I only lost like 0.4 pounds, which I guess is pretty good. I mean, that's still half of a pound. Again, went to the bathroom quite a bit. So I think my body is just getting rid of the junk that it's not used to. And I got to tell you this too. I'm off of caffeine, and according to 23andMe, my body is predisposed to wanting more caffeine or having more caffeine than other people. I'm really not a big coffee drinker. I might have 2 or 3 cups of coffee a year, but for me, mostly it was pop. So I think the not having a lot of pop or caffeine and sugar that was in the pop I was drinking was helping me clean house. It felt as almost like my liver could finally do what it needed to do instead of have to deal with all this high fructose corn syrup that I was throwing at it every day. And it could finally do its job that it was designed to do. And on my fast days too, another thing that I noticed that happened again is on my fast days, my heart rate was a lot lower than on my eat days. Usually on my eat days, heart rate's anywhere from 74 to 90, 91, whatever it is. On my fast days, I remember looking at my watch and my heart rate was like anywhere from 59 to 61 to 65. And I think it's because I don't have all that sugar and fat in my blood, or, sugar meaning, carbohydrates, whether it's from corn or vegetables or bread. Your body still breaks those carbs down as sugars. And I think it's because I didn't have all that stuff in my blood that my heart had to pump through, and it had to pump faster to circulate the blood. And then on Sunday, things still went really well. I had no sugar pop, no Mountain Dew. But I will tell you this, I did have 2 cans of Diet Pepsi this week. And I had one on Saturday and I had one on Sunday. And it was just okay. It really wasn't anything special. At work, we had a cookout for the 4th of July. And I'm so glad that was my eat day, because I can't imagine that being my fast day. And then I have, then I can't eat. And, all my coworkers are sitting there eating in front of me. But on Saturday, I had 2 hamburgers and just a bunch of like 2 bags of Cheetos, some M&Ms, and I had this carbonated water that was, I think it was like called ice water, and it was like this lemon lime flavor, and it tasted so good. And that was like the first carbonated water I had all week. And wouldn't you know it, after I had that bottle of water, God, it felt like it was Thanksgiving. I felt like so bloated and huge and just like I couldn't move. Like if the building caught on fire, it was like, I'd have to waddle out of the store. And it's just weird thinking that one bottle of carbonated drink could make me feel that way after not having any carbonated water, all week. I'd say for about 6 days. Then Saturday night, the night of the 4th, is when I had my first Diet Pepsi. Then I had one on Sunday. So Sunday I had a 35.5-hour fast. And, again, everything went good. I was off, I thought it would be that if I had off of work on my fast day, that it would be tough to not eat. And it wasn't. It went really well. And here's what I did is, in my mind, it was like my brain was telling me that food that I could eat that was on the table, it was like an inanimate object, like a chair or an ink pen. My mind didn't connect the dots to me that was food. So I think it was just a mental trick I was using on myself to make me not want the food. But there were times where I might think of food and say, oh yeah, I want that. But I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just have that tomorrow on my eat day. And I'll tell you what, on the eat days, I got really excited. It's like waking up Christmas morning. It's like, wow, I get to eat. I get to eat whatever I want. I can have a bagel with eggs, and I can make a smoothie if I want, and I can have, whatever. So it's kind of fun for me personally, knowing that on my eat days, it does kind of feel like Christmas. You get to get up and it's sort of like a celebration. And again, the food is tasting really well. I'm more grateful for the food. And if we ever in this country get to a point where we are low on food, God help us if we do, I can go, at least a day, 35, 40 hours without any type of issues. And I will tell you this, when I woke up on when I woke up on Saturday, I was thinking about, instead of eating, I was thinking about stretching that fast into a 60-hour fast. So to where I would have fasted on Friday and Saturday, July 4th. And then I would have been able to eat Sunday and Tuesday, which would have been 2 out of my 3 days off. But how the calendar lands with the alternate day fasting that I made for myself, my fasting days were Sunday and Tuesday of this week, which is tomorrow. So I don't really see any issue. Anyway, when I woke up today, July 6th, I still had a body fat percentage of 28%, and that's on my body fat machine that I use, and that's on the normal setting. They have 2 settings, normal and athlete. Athlete, they want you to work out like 5 days a week, and so just on the normal setting, I was still at 28%, and I was still at 220 pounds. So even with me fasting on Sunday, July 5th, I must have burned off everything that I had on July 4th, which was a lot of food. Because not only did I have breakfast, I had like a bagel and an egg, I think. And then I went to work and I had a hamburger on my break, then I had a hamburger on lunch. And then I came home and I had like 2 pieces of pizza at my dad's house. And then, so I ate a lot of food on July 4th. Again, it wasn't all junk food, candy bars, things like that. My mind is sort of pushing me away from all the sugars for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm eating different types of foods, the bagels, the eggs, for lunch, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, fruit, bananas, apples, cherries, grapes. Those foods are really tasty too. So, and this is all just in 1 week. I had all this change. The main difference between round 2, week 1 and round 1, week 1 is round 2, week 1 was a piece of cake really for me. It was super easy. And I'm down, you can see here on the calendar that I'm down about 5.4 pounds for the week, which I'm guessing most of that was just waste, body waste. So again, in round 1, I averaged 2 to 3 pounds a week, I think, when I hit that. And I'm excited for week 2. Week 2 only has 3 fasting days in it instead of 4. They sort of alternate week by week. But I've actually mapped it out for 16 weeks, which will take me through, I think, the 3rd week of October. So I'm going to be diligent in staying with this, even if I run into other issues that happened in round 1, like the constipation was a big issue. That worried me because I was so used to going all the time. And in round 1, the benefit to that was, I think my gut microbiome was healed because my IBS symptoms virtually went away. And that was even with eating junk food still on my eat days. So I think that with me not having as much high fructose corn syrup and as much junk food, now I still have junk food, don't get me wrong, I talked about those Aldi's cupcakes and the cinnamon cakes. Instead of having maybe 5 a week, I went down to like maybe 2 a week. I still want them. I eat them because they're there. But there's not as much of a craving for them. And I don't know why. I think it's because I'm not eating as much sugar. It's almost in my mind, the way it is with me, is the more sugar I have, the more sugar I want. And now that I've kind of pushed away from that, my mind and my body's really not craving the sugar like I thought it would be. It's going to be interesting to see. I don't know if I'm going to have a Mountain Dew in week 2. I might, but it's going to be interesting to see how it tastes. Another thing that I want to cover with you too, that I mentally went through, was on my feast days, I would get these slight cravings that would pop up, like, oh my God, I want to go to Taco Bell and have a Baja Blast. Okay, my next eat day, tomorrow, I'm going to go to Taco Bell and I'm going to go get a Baja Blast and some tacos, and I'm going to eat that. And, that was in my mind for about 2 minutes on my fast day. Well, when my next eat day came around, I didn't want Taco Bell and I didn't want the Baja Blast. I just wanted like my peanut butter and jelly sandwich and my banana and my apple and my almonds and maybe some Cheez-Its I had in my lunch bag. And I also, packed a little salad of greens, I guess, the spring mix. So it was like my mind is fighting with itself. The old story about the wolf, which one wins? Well, the one you feed the most. But we'll see what happens with week 2. I'm kind of excited to see what happens. I think what I'm going to do in week 2, since week 1 had like 0 exercise whatsoever, other than me going out and working in the field for a couple hours. In week 2, what I want to do, I'm going to start to walk a lot because I have a desk job, so I really don't walk more than probably 4,000 or 5,000 steps a day. And I think on my fast days, as an experiment to myself, I'm going to start like running on my treadmill on my fast days and see how I feel there. Because right now on my fast days, I am not losing energy at all. I still have a lot of energy, and it feels great because my heart rate's lower, which I think that means my blood pressure is even lower on my fast days. And it just feels so good to feel like that, because believe me, health-wise, there were days where I really felt like crap, where we're talking a few months ago, like you could just tell the blood pressure was up, and there were times where, I don't know if it was the beard growth, but there were times where my face felt kind of numb, and I'm like, oh, like what's going on with me now? Or, you got to realize too that at one point I was up to about 236 pounds, probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And it just sneaks up on you, and you think you're the same, and then all of a sudden you see a picture of yourself that one of your friends takes, and you're like, oh my God, what happened to me? I think we all go through that. So, it's like, holy crap, I gotta turn this ship around. Gotta back this train up. This is it was too much. It's a mental shock. But you don't realize that all of your family and all of your friends see you like that every day. In your mind, you have this perfect vision of yourself, like, oh, I look good, I do this. And then all of a sudden, all it takes is, getting out of the shower one day and seeing yourself in a full-length mirror, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I'm so unhealthy. I look like crap. I feel like crap. I got to turn this around. But anyway, the alternate day fasting really works for me. It's what I want to stick with, because it's not a diet plan. Nothing is off the table. There are benefits on the fast days and benefits on the eating days, and it works really well for me. And I can't wait to see what happens in week 2, round 2. I think it's going to be really good. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, let me know. because if you're looking at trying this, you're going to run into like some light diarrhea the first couple days. You know, that's one of the issues you might have. Plus, if you're on caffeine, you'll get tired. But you have to just make the choice for yourself that you want to better yourself. You want the best for yourself, and not just you, but for your friends and family too. You know, that love you and want the best for you. So, anyway, thanks for hanging out, and I will see you next week.